Hey guys, what's up? So the way that I'm gonna do this reading is that whatever zodiac sign comes out first, that is who we will give the reading to. We are starting off with Eight of Cups. And the next card that we have out is the Devil. So this is Capricorn. Okay. All right, so I'm definitely getting you being in a spot where you can feel like in some way you have learned your lesson with something. After we have the Devil, we have the World, which is going to show actually a completion that's taking place. So what this means is that whatever cycle this had been in, so you could have felt like under the reign of something, whatever it is when you're in a circumstance like this is kind of like you're in a place where you can feel like you don't really have your power or you don't really have the control that you want to be having, and that it can be a circumstance where you feel like I kind of have to be doing this or I have to be putting up with this, but I don't. Ideally, this wouldn't be the situation. This wouldn't be the framework that I'd be working with, but we can feel sometimes like we're in a situation where basically like what we'd have to do in order to break out of that type of cycle. It can be the type of stuff that it can feel risky to break out of a cycle like this. It can feel challenging. There can be things that we have to sacrifice in order to do that. But you end up gaining your autonomy in a way that you don't have when you're in this type of cycle. And it allows you to take control back, but you have to also face kind of basically when you're in a cycle like this, the way that it keeps you in, even though we don't really like being in this situation, it can make you have to face things that feel really difficult to face in order to get out of the cycle. So it can threaten things, or like, you're not going to have access to this then if you break out of this, or what are you going to do about that? And so that fear is what keeps us in those cycles. So even though we don't necessarily want to be in it, it can be very much reinforced by fears that we have. And until we are ready to confront them, we're not able to break out of that cycle. What I'm seeing is you getting to the point where it looks like you're done with that. So I'm seeing you breaking away from whatever this was that you had been involved with. So you're going to be moving to a much better situation. I feel too, the way that I'm seeing this be is kind of like, in certain ways, you definitely could have been getting what you needed, but you could have felt like you were doing things that you didn't want to do in order to get that. So it's not like you were going through this and being like, I hate this situation and it's not providing me with what I need at all. I'm seeing in certain ways it was giving you what you needed, but you could have felt like it was sort of like out of bounds what was required of you in order to get those transactions to happen, essentially. And that could have been something that you didn't want to be doing anymore, that you didn't want to deal with. But yeah, when we have the Devil involved, it can be really difficult to break away from the cycle, just for like all of the reasons. You know, we all have different stuff that we can be weary of having to confront, and I think this could have like brought up a lot of stuff for you where it's like, do I really want to make that compromise of breaking out of this? Is like me taking control back valuable enough that I would be willing to break out of this type of cycle? Because I definitely get things going in a direction that I don't think you really wanted to go that way here. when you're tuned in, you know what to do and you know where to go. I just think that it's like, yeah, I'm seeing this story very clearly. It's a situation where in some ways you are getting what you need and you can like the setup of it. In other ways, you can feel like the game that you're playing in order to be involved in that, you don't really want to play that game. It's like if you could just have like the benefits of this without having to like sort of perform and do the things that you have to perform in order to be involved with it, you wouldn't be doing those things. But I think it's one of those situations where it's like, what is going to outweigh what here? Like, do you want to be in a cycle like this where you have to be showing up in this way where it's like required of you to kind of, it's like at what cost? You can in many ways be getting what you want, but at the same time to have you doing things that you look at and you don't really want to be doing those things, they don't really feel genuine to you. Is that worth it just to get the end result of that? Would you maybe want to shift to a different circumstance that very much could work in a similar way, where you would actually be getting what you need and what you want, but without the stipulations essentially that this places? And when you're totally in touch with yourself, I'm seeing you want to break out of this, but I just get that the connection with kind of the materialistic side of what this is providing you with, it can be difficult to break away from that. And you can be telling yourself like maybe it's worth it because of the material side of this. But then if that were really the case, why would you be feeling the way that you're feeling? And especially too when you're used to kind of like minimizing that or pushing it to the side, I think it's easy to ignore it, but it feels like there's a feeling here that you've been feeling about this. But yeah, some of you don't like the environment either, but I'm getting like why this situation is difficult is because whatever you're getting in exchange for being involved in this, you can really be happy with what that is, but you're not happy with the circumstance. The thing is, I think you're gonna have to like tell yourself and believe that you can find yourself, if you leave this, that you can find yourself in another circumstance where you can be getting similar results and you can also like what you're doing within the environment and you can like actually feel like you're thriving within it rather than having to compromise things that you don't want to be compromising anymore. Because I think this is also having you confront that side of you that's kind of like pushing your feelings aside just to get the product of what this is. And it feels like it's really important now for you to integrate what's going on emotionally with you. And you making this move is going to be you doing that. It's going to be you showing up for yourself. It's going to be you showing up for your feelings. It's going to be you honoring the way that you feel about this. Because you know in your heart that this situation is not the right situation for you to be in. And that you do want to get out. I think that you can ignore that. You definitely can ignore that here. You don't have to acknowledge it. You don't have to honor it. I think like clearly you know how you feel. It's just about like whether or not you're going to honor that. And I think that's going to be reflective of where you are with yourself and whether you're still finding ways to push yourself and make yourself show up in situations that are actually out of alignment for you versus knowing that if you honor this, you're going to find something better. But that also means that you're going to have to face that part of you that feels like, that doesn't believe that that's true. And why would you not believe that that's true? You found this and it was something that you liked maybe for some period of time, possibly. Now it's getting to the point where it feels in many ways like this thing has expired. But yeah, you are going to have to face this part of yourself that can be like, the material side of things is the most important, and I kind of put off other ways that I'm feeling because of certain benefits that I get from this. And yeah, so it's having you like have to face this part of you that wants to like overpower everything else, because this is a situation where you don't feel like you can fully be integrated in order to be involved with something like this. You feel like you can only bring certain parts of you to the table here. and that you have to sweep other things, other pieces of you under the rug in order to be able to continue participating in this. And I don't know that you want to keep compartmentalizing like that within your life anymore. It just may feel like it's kind of costing you a little bit too much at this point. And it may not feel good for you. You may feel like that's unhealthy for you to be living in that way right now. And the only reason why you feel conflicted about this is because I see stuff that hasn't totally been shed yet, but it's like in the process of happening. Like there's a mental shift that's in the process of happening for you right now that is going to allow you to break out of this mentality, and things are going to feel more wholesome and more complete for you as that happens. But yeah, there is definitely a need for you to confront this part of you that I think is like, your feelings don't matter, or like whatever, just push through it. It's definitely that mentality here with it where it's like, just ignore the way that you feel, or like it doesn't really matter that much. It doesn't matter as much as this. And I think that like you're getting more in touch with yourself, and so you're recognizing that it actually does really matter. And there's even something within your relationship that you're in the process of healing too. Because I think this is a process of you purging certain choices and connections that were kind of the old way of you doing things. The old way when you were not integrated like you are now. It's like the old way when you could compartmentalize, when you did shove down certain feelings that you have, when you did push through it even when it wasn't the best thing for you to be doing. This is being rewritten now for you. But yeah, what that does mean is that you have to really take a close look at your relationship with yourself and like toxic dynamics that you have with yourself. And yeah, that's what I'm seeing is actually standing in the way between you leaving this situation. That's what it is. And it feels too like this new chapter that you're going to be starting, there's something here that's going to have to, I'm getting something about a restless mind. There's something here that's going to be confronted having to do with this. Because I even get you having an issue sometimes when things are still and sitting within that. It feels like not at peace. And I wonder too if like when you have time off from whatever situation this is, that you don't feel at peace about it, and that's also like something that you're kind of hearing and like can't really get away from. I get to, you have reasons for going, you have reasons for staying. I think it's just like, what reasons do you want to be motivated by here? Because I think if you were to stay in this, you may feel like it's not really the healthiest thing that you're motivated by. It's maybe not the best way for you to have a relationship with yourself. It looks like if you were to leave this situation, that it would be part of a healing process within your relationship with yourself. And so it's really just coming down to that for you at this point. You are going to be able to get a situation that works well for you outside of this. It's going to take work, but it's something definitely that can be established for sure. But yeah, if you've like been on the fence, that's where this is coming from. I'm also seeing Virgo on the bottom of the deck. I'm seeing Capricorn and Saturn next to one another. And Virgo. I think the energy of Capricorn with Saturn, what comes to mind immediately when I think of those energies is like being forced to work and be independent and take care of things and not really get the side of like enjoyment or totally honoring your emotions, because it's like there's this feeling of responsibility of like, you don't have time to feel your feelings. I need you here right now to be doing this. And I think it's about working with this part of yourself where it's like, I don't know that that's really the circumstance anymore. And I think you're coming to a place where this can be something that's realized, but it's like this thing is so deeply ingrained within you that it can be a mentality that's difficult to shake, because this was something that developed to like help you survive at some point in time, but you're not in a situation like that within your life anymore. So that mentality, it feels like it can fall away at this point. Like you are developing beyond that now. It's more than just survival at this point. And I think allowing yourself to integrate your feelings and have that be considered when it comes to the decisions you're making is something that you're learning how to do now. But something that can still not feel like the easiest, because you're kind of unlearning a lot of stuff from the past here. But yeah, I feel like you're getting really clear on this if you don't feel totally clear yet. I don't think that you need to rush yourself through this process. I think as you continue working through it, this is going to become more and more obvious to you. All right, Capricorn, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.